This is the Creatively Geeky Show, the support group for your creative process.
Welcome back to the Creatively Geeky Show, episode number 67. I'm your host for the evening, Eugene Stevens, and I'm joined by Cyrus, Ray, and a very special guest, John the Retro Bro. How are you doing, sir?
Howdy. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Should be blessed.
John the Retro Bro has created several new retro games for the NES. He has funded them on Kickstarter, and while they can be played on emulators, they can also be played on the original hardware, which is insane. That is so awesome. So, not everyone jump in all at once.
Oh, okay. John,
finish your intro, man.
Yeah,
John's my friend. I'll take over from here.
Actually, my first question was, how did you meet Cyrus? So go ahead.
John, how did we meet?
That's a good question. YouTube, probably. It was just YouTube happenstance. Actually, I know what it is. You and his name's Mike. I can't remember his YouTube. Epically Gamer. You guys used to do a podcast together, and I used to listen to it while I used to live in Phoenix, and I would have a pretty long commute home. And every time they streamed, I'd make sure I'd listen to it. And I just kind of started following his YouTube channel. And then I don't know how it blossomed from there, but
we've known each other for years, and yeah, dude, like the exact entomology breakdown of the congealed beast that is our friendship. It's hard to nail down like specifics, but I'll tell you this: we became friends probably, yes, from YouTube, but also from playing Call of Duty and stuff like that together. We had a little group of us who would get together, and we would just have the best live, sometimes recorded, sometimes not, Call of Duty sessions. And some of the most hilarious moments that I've experienced in my life. Anyway, it was very nice.
Good times, man. Gun game. I've never forget those late night gun games.
The gun games, dude. Yes. Oh my God.
Back when Call of Duty was great.
Yeah, so many good nights. John's been a great friend of mine for a long time, and John is an ambitious guy. John, you've done a lot of things. You've been a part of a lot of projects, and this latest endeavor of yours, which the game in the background is one of John's games, has been absolutely fascinating to me because we've talked about games, we've played games, we've done streams, YouTube videos and streaming for many years, and then John decided, I can do this. I'm going to make games. And he just went for it. A lot of people will like in their head kind of be like, I think I could do it. I do better than they could do. But John was like, actually, I'm going to do it. And we were like, whoa, calm down, John. This is crazy talk. And John's like, nah, bro. Do you even make games, bro? And we were like, no. But John was like, I do. And he has made one, what I would actually classify as banger NES game after another. How many have you made now, John?
So officially like published games, Athos is my third game. Yeah. And to go back a little bit, I know one of the questions you guys wanted to ask me was, and I'll get into it here, is how did I get into game design? So much like Cy, I used to be a YouTube content creator. I started my channel back in 2016, and one of the things, I used to watch like the Metal Jesus Rocks. This was like when the Game Chasers were real popular. So I was like, you know what? I play old video games. I could make a YouTube channel and talk about that. So I did that for like a really long time, probably up until like 2023, because I was always kind of a creative person. Like I always had like a creative itch to scratch. Thankfully, I passed that on to my kids as well. They're super creative. But I just kind of get like tired of YouTube. Like it stopped becoming fulfilling to me. So happenstance, I came across a program called NES Maker, which is sort of like Unity for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Downloaded it. I was like, I'll give this a try. And at first it was complicated. I almost just said, I'm not going to do this, but I paid money. I paid $35 for the program. It's not a free program. So I was like, well, I paid $35 for this damn program. I might as well try and make something, at least give it a good, college try.
Yeah.
So then I kind of really got into it, found some good tutorials, started learning the 6502 assembly coding, and really kind of just took off from there. And now it's like, I love making games probably more than I love playing them now. I still play video games. I have to be more intentional about when I play games, because I feel like as a game developer, like you can get a lot of inspiration, a lot of different types of things like game design you might want to do. Like maybe how many times have we just been playing a game and be like, if I had a game, I would do this differently, or this is how I would do this. So I still really like to play I still play a lot of homebrew games. I love NES homebrew games just to see what other people in the community are doing. And I still play a lot of modern games too, because I like to incorporate modern game mechanics. And that's one of the things, the game you're showing now, Athos, that's a Metroidvania. That's my most recent game. And I tried to really incorporate a lot of modern mechanics into that game to try and get it to appeal to a more like modern audience. Because the majority of your audience when you make these games are still going to be retro gamers, Nintendo gamers, people who are into the homebrew scene, but you also want other people to be able to play the games. And that was kind of my goal with Athos.
So question for you about that. Why the NES? What drew you to that particular system?
The fun answer would be NES was my first console, and it was. But honestly, it was because the program NES Maker existed, which has allowed new devs to kind of come in at an entry level and really kind of learn the programming and go from there. If there would be something like that for Genesis, or Genesis is probably my more favorite system, because I had that. I was born in '85, so I was really young when I got a Nintendo, but I had it for a long time. But Genesis, I was a little bit older, so that's really why. Just because the availability of the program and the entry point to be able to get in there and just learn it.
How much of it do you do? Like, do you do like everything, the graphics, the sound, the music, or do you have other people contract it out to other people?
I don't do the sound. So NES Maker uses a program called Family Tracker, and you can use Family Tracker for not just NES Maker, but Family Tracker is just a way to make 8-bit music on the NES. Mm-hmm. And Family Tracker comes with NES Maker. So at first I tried using it, and I said, you know what? I need to learn how to code. I can't learn how to code and make music because it's like looking at an Excel spreadsheet to me. Like that's literally what, if you look at, because you can look at assembly code looks one way, but then when you look at how music is made for the NES, it literally looks like an Excel spreadsheet. So I'm like, I'm not even going to try to learn this. So thankfully, because the NES Maker community and the NES dev community is so big, there's a lot of musicians that are out there. And I've been working with Ryan now, who did the music on this game. He won best music for the Bite Off 5 competition last year. He's an amazing composer, and he's super reliable. Him and I have a good system, and he even makes like some good suggestions when we're game testing and doing things like that. If I need I need this like atmosphere like in Athos, I was like, I need it to feel like you're alone, because you're alone the entire game. There's no other people in the game. Mm-hmm. There's no NPCs. I was like, I need it to feel like you're by yourself to like get you into that like atmospheric type loneliness exploration vibe, and he just hit it out of the park. Graphics, I do the majority of them in game, like so all the stuff you see that's playing in the game, all the background stuff, I can do that. I don't do the characters as far as the sprite design. I have a animator. I actually found him off Fiverr. He's fantastic. He's real responsive, but I could give him I'll start something and I'll say, hey, this is supposed to be a person. I need him to walk. I can't do, especially when it comes to arms and legs and movements. I can't do that. I can make aliens. Some of the bad guys in Athos I did myself, but a lot of that is done by an animator because I just can never get it right. But all the background stuff, the tile work, I do all that. I did that, her face right there. That took me, a few hours to do that. All the coding I do on my own. I did have some help from a a more advanced coder on this one for a few spots that were just a little above my head, or maybe I ran into a bug that I could not track down. I couldn't figure it out. So he's titled as a partner in the Kickstarter as well. He's worked on a ton of games. But yeah, so to answer your question, I do most of the legwork, the game design, the coding, the story, the background graphics, music, animations. That's all people I work with now. And then James, the guy who did the cover art, I didn't do that. A guy I found actually just recently did that for me, and he's going to do all of them now. I told him, I'm like, you're doing all of them for every cover. Nice. Every game I make now for a cover, you're doing it, because it was unbelievable what he did. And I really believe that cover art that's on this game is probably responsible for like 60% of the backers on that Kickstarter. So
it's really incredible.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that looks awesome. Good. So like, describe your process a little bit. Like, how do you go about when you come up with the idea for a new game, or how do you start with the process, and kind of, if you can walk us through it a little bit?
It's interesting, actually, because you always have like an idea of what you want to do. So recently, and I have to really like be emotionally invested in the game I'm making. So I have to like, it has to like the story, the end product, like it has to like really excite me, as well as like the work that has to be done to get to that point. Because sometimes, depending on what you're doing, it's extremely daunting. So I just finished Athos. So NES Maker has a competition called Bite Off 5. And Bite Off 5 is a game jam. So you have 30 days. They give you a theme. You have to build a demo around that theme. So after Athos, I started working on a game that I thought was going to be my next game. And maybe it will be. But it's interesting. And to answer your question is, while I was making that game, so it's kind of like I call it a dad venture. My wife calls it Sims on the NES. Okay. So you play as like a dad. You're in the life of a dad. You have to do like chores around the house. You have to like interact with your family. And the game is like, it's different based on the decisions you make throughout the game. But within that game, because you're within this world, I'm like, I'm going to make the ability to play a game within the game. So I started making this little like arcade shooter, like that you can go to a TV in the game and play this game. And then like I was working on it for like 3 days, and I'm like just working on this little game. I'm like, this game is so cool. I love this little game. And I was telling Ryan, my sound guy, like, dude, this is my next game. Like, I'm going to make this a full game, and that's going to be my next game, because this is going to be a lot of fun. So it's really kind of interesting, because like you'll have ideas, and some of them like won't work out because maybe, like I said, it just doesn't like emotionally, like I'm not there, or other things will just pop up and be like, oh wow, like this is it right here. So it really just depends. But I don't have like a set process.
Oh, fair enough.
If I did, I would have like after I finished my first game, Desert of the Undead, I was immediately going to do a second one. And I started doing it, and I'm like, this game sucks. I don't want to do this. It wasn't working out how I wanted to. I was like, I'll come back to that. And that was 2 years ago. So yeah.
That's cool. Interesting because a lot of people will get stuck on doing something like we've talked about on the show, the creative process, and how, we've done episodes where we've talked about like what projects have you started that you probably should quit, but you just haven't yet. And the fact that you were able to do that is, I'll be honest with you, I'm a little jealous of that ability sometimes, because sometimes
I've started things
here that I should have stopped a long time ago.
I've certainly started things and put them down, but that's why I said I go back to like I have to be emotionally excited about what I'm doing, because making a game is extremely like, it's super time consuming. It's one of those things where you sit down and do, like, if you would just want to code like a block of like a subroutine that maybe you want to do for a certain part of the game, you sit down and you start it, and like 4 hours just goes by. Like, oh, I forgot to eat. Like, so it just, because you're just constantly looking at it. So it's just, you have to really kind of enjoy that. I guess you have to look forward to the outcome, I suppose. It can't feel like just something that you're just doing. So.
Well, you said your first game was Desert of the Undead?
Yeah, that was the first published. Yeah, it was actually my first game and first published game.
Nice.
Yeah. Somehow it wound up on the like top 500 indie list for which I guess, I mean, I don't know. That's a lot of games. I think I was like 127 or something like that on this list that some guy put together in the homebrew or indie community.
Nice.
But yeah, it was I mean, it has it's I've been able to go back and fix a lot of things in it over the last 2 years, so it's certainly like way better than what it was when I initially launched it.
These are really good graphics for the Nintendo.
Everybody always says that. Everybody always says that. I had no idea what I was doing to make a game trailer for this. I was like, yeah.
So, I mean, I know you said you learned to code in this, in the, for NES. It was also your first system. But like, do you feel limited by the graphics at all? Do you feel like it actually gives you some freedom because there's only so much you can do, or?
Sometimes it's nice, and sometimes it's like, man, if I just had like one more background layer, or if I had like, another name table or so. Sometimes like when you really want to do something like, I would say out of bounds, you have to kind of like figure out how you're going to do it. So, I mean, like, the NES it only has one layer of background. So any parallax scrolling you see on the NES is all done through Sprite Zero, and you're just manipulating the PPU. You're just basically telling the CPU to take different parts of the PPU, and so it's complicated. It's really hard to do, and I really don't know how to do that. There's some parts in Athos at the end where I had a coder help me with some of that, because the end screen will use a little parallax, but as far as like, I think because I'm somebody who isn't artistic by nature, I think sometimes it helps me a little bit, because like if you're making like an alien, you don't have to make a perfect drawing. It doesn't have to be perfect in a 16 by 16 block of pixels. So it's kind of like, oh, it's an NES, it's supposed to look like that. So in some regards it's nice, the simplicity is nice, but when you want to like step out of that, it's but that's the fun in it, because you're challenged by those limitations.
That's awesome.
So you'd mentioned that the NES was your first console as a kid. What's the cartridge that you use the most? What's the game that you played the most as a kid?
Super Mario Brothers 3.
Yeah.
Good answer.
Yeah. No Death ran it twice. Once on stream. Cy saw it. I think Cy, you were there when it happened.
There might have been a incident of some notoriety where John would fly over entire levels and we would give him shit for it. But John didn't have to do that. John knows there's certain games, and I just know this because I know John very well. There's certain games for different consoles where John can literally probably beat them with his eyes closed because he's beat them so many times. And yeah, Super Mario 3 is one of those. That's one of John's. It is known that this is one of his games. So yeah.
Yeah, the first time I ever did it, I was actually the first time I ever did it on Super Mario Brothers 3 was during COVID. And I was just sitting down. I was like, I'm just going to play Super Mario Brothers 3 on my Nintendo. And I got to like World 8. I'm like, I haven't died yet. I'm like, will it happen? And it happened. And I was like, nobody saw it. So I was like, well, it's just, hearsay now. So then I was like, I got to do it at least once on stream. So the one night I was streaming, we were just on my channel. I used to live stream and I would have my Discord open. People could come in and chat or whatever. And we were just talking and I was like, wait a minute. I'm going to no death run this again. And then, yeah, it happened.
John has one of those top loader.
Yeah, I have the American one. You have the better one. That's the one with the yellow cable in the back, right?
This this one's RGB modded.
You have a modded one,
yeah. But John has the American one with the RF out and everything.
It's the one I have from a kid too. The thing's indestructible, man.
Yeah, they really are. They're built very amazing.
So follow up to that, then you said the Genesis is what you were more drawn to as a kid, as a Genesis fan, like that's one of the consoles I played a lot. What's the game there that you wore out?
Super Street Fighter, New Champions Edition was the one. Yeah, that thing didn't leave the console when I was a kid.
Nice.
So I can't play the newer Street Fighter games. I can still go back to those and whoop some butt though if I have to.
Yeah, you thinking about doing a fighter for the NES?
No, because it would be cool, but you're so limited on sprites and whatnot. I thought about doing a beat 'em up, but it would have to, I'd have to have like a really cool idea. There's a really good, if you guys are familiar with Retrotainment games, they did the Haunted Halloween games. I don't know if you're familiar with them. They're doing a game called Cease and Desist. It's basically like, it's a beat 'em up, but you're in like these like mock worlds, like you're in the Simpsons universe and you fight like these weird, it's like not Simpsons, but it's the Simpsons type thing. Mm-hmm. And there's like Tiny Toons, there's a Peanuts level. It's really cool. There's a demo you can download, but that's a really cool beat 'em up. They're really good developers though. They're super seasoned. I think they've been developing games for like 11 or 10 years or something like that. So,
well,
John, I know.
Go on. Sorry.
I want to ask John about this because I've asked him. I think I've asked you this a lot of times. I don't know how many times, but do you think? Because I know that they have NES Maker and it's obviously evolved quite a bit from where it began, and I know that they have a similar type of suite for the Sega Genesis. And since I know that is your favorite of the retro systems, what would it take, John, for you to evolve yourself into creating a Sega Genesis game? Because, dude, can you imagine the possibilities of what could even? I mean, I'm just saying. Yeah,
I mean, there's a program that's coming out. It's been in development for a few different years. It's kind of like NES Maker, but it's all visual scripting. So like in NES Maker has some visual scripting. Visual scripting is you don't have to code. You just go into the UI and you can change assets from there, basically. NES Maker was built so you could use the entire UI, but realistically, if you want to make a good game, you have to learn how to code. There's something like that coming out for the Genesis. It's on Steam. I always forget the name of it when somebody asks me this question.
Me?
But it's like, yeah, but it's all visual scripting. And I asked, like, are you going to be able to learn to code? Or if you do know how to code, put your own custom code. And they were kind of like, yeah, we'll put that in there at some point, yada, yada, yada. And I was like, well, when that happens, let me know. Cause I just don't want to make something with pre-existing, like you're just limited by the UI itself. I don't really like that. Mm-hmm. Also, like with NES Maker, there's such like a big development community behind it. Like there's publishers, there's people you can reach out to if you're having a problem or if you have a question with code. Like there's a Discord, there's a Facebook group. So like the support is just huge. So I mean, if something like that for the Genesis would ever come about, I would 100% be willing to kind of branch out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the community aspect. I mean, I see that in the NES homebrew and the Intellivision homebrew community. And those are like the two biggest ones that I have seen. Mm-hmm. And when you have a community like that, yeah, that's a whole level of support that I can't even imagine. That's really, really good. That's going to definitely cause you to want to focus in on that because that's a huge asset. Absolutely.
Yeah, MD Engine. Super easy. I should remember that. Yeah.
By the way, Luke's Awakening had the same question or comment that I had. So would we see Desert of the Unborn 2 on Sega Genesis?
The undead, not unborn.
It's an inside joke.
Undead. Okay.
Desert of the Unborn, yeah. Luke's being silly.
Yeah. I forgot the original question I was going to ask you, but so how do you handle writer's block / lack of creativity? Like especially, I mean, obviously you said if you're interested in it or you're passionate about it, that you really need that spark to get going with the game. But if you ever hit a roadblock, like how do you get past it? You just keep hammering at it, or do you feel like you have to step away? Or
it depends. If it's like a creative roadblock, I mean, I guess both instances you would step away. But if it's a creative roadblock, if it's like a code roadblock, I guess I would handle them a little bit differently. A creative roadblock, which is probably what you're asking more about, I'll just kind of take a break, because you get so involved. Like when you're developing a game, you get so, I don't know what like the right term for it would be, but you get so ingrained in what you're doing, you kind of lose sight. So like, for example, when I made Athos, because it's a space game, in my free time, I would watch like space documentaries or like theoretical, like space travel, stuff like that, on like YouTube, and these weird, YouTube space videos and, theoretical stuff. And that might be like something like, oh, that's like a really good idea. I can incorporate that. So really it's weird. Like I also watched like a lot of Metroid videos Metroid development videos, because it's kind of like Metroid a little bit. But I would go back and watch like the history of Metroid and like how it all started, and that stuff will kind of give you like some inspiration, or maybe like you'll get an idea spawned off of maybe something else that you see. So for me, step away, I'll watch like a movie, I'll watch like a, something kind of like within that universe of thought, to maybe kind of like get the juices flowing a little bit and stimulate the thought, see where it goes from there. But
so let me ask you this. I know, because YouTube unfortunately is horrible about immediately trying to slam someone about, well, you ripped that off from someone else. You're obviously doing this from someone else. Do you find that that's any kind of an issue when making a game? Like if you see something, like you said, a lot of people, you play a game and you go, well, if I were going to do it, I would do it this way, and put that a little bit of maybe a lot of spin on it, maybe a little bit of spin on it. Do you feel like that's an issue? Like if you're literally just, even if you were just kind of reskinning a game?
Well, reskinning a game and getting inspiration from something, I think, might be two very different things. Reskinning a game, to me, I kind of talked about this with Mike's Gaming Gal. That's something that would like never interest me, because it's not yours. You're just taking something that already exists. Like, I don't know, there's been so many like gazillion people on Earth, and there's however many people and ideas now. It's like, how many original ideas really are there? So I think everybody, when you kind of create something, you're almost inspired, or those thoughts might even form off of like things you've seen in your past that maybe you don't even remember anymore. I certainly don't have a problem with it. I think everybody gets inspiration from somewhere. The guy who made Elden Ring got inspired from Lord of the Rings. So it's like, and you see a lot of that in there. Granted, the guy who made Lord of the Rings helped develop the game, but there's other instances of those, kind of like game developers who AAA studios do it all the time. Like, oh, they really liked how something in this game worked, and, game genres have introduced new mechanics. So unless you're like creating a brand new mechanic or genre that never existed before, I don't really think your idea to a degree is even really original. So, you can try and make it yours, and that's what I try and do, but to have like an original thought, I don't know. I don't know how many people actually have those. You ever like watch something on TV and you're like, I thought of that 10 years ago, and now this guy's a millionaire. You know what I mean? Like, how many we've all done it. Yeah. So exactly. Stuff like that is always like super intriguing to me. It's like, I thought about that. How many other people thought about that? This guy was just the one who decided to do something about it. So
back on it. Yeah.
Funny you say that, because like, God, years ago when I was in college, I was like, okay, every arena needs a tablet at their seat with a touch screen that you can jack in so that you can listen to the game if you need to, or you can order what you want for food, and they can come and bring it to you. And now we have them with us all the time. So it's
yeah.
Yeah, when I was in college, I thought about making a magazine with provocative photos of women, only to find out that no, I'm just
kidding. What is your favorite part of the creative process? Like, what's your favorite part of it? Is there something that like you're just like, yeah, this is what I like the most when it comes to making a game?
Probably the game design aspect of it. When I say like game design, I mean like the game flow of how the player is going to approach the game and how they're going to experience the game. Because as a developer, you really don't get to experience your game. You test your game. You don't get to experience it. So when you have that initial thought of like, I'm going to make it this way so the player can experience it that way, That's probably my favorite part, like to see that when you first get that visualization. Then of course your testers test it and they think you're crazy or it doesn't work out the way you expect it to.
Okay. I'm glad you brought up the testers. So what is one piece of feedback from those testers that you dread getting?
Bugs. Yeah. When they because anything else is super fixable. But if like they're playing the game and it crashes, I have to like, where did it crash? When did it crash? What were you doing? What button combination were you pressing? What else have you done up to before that point? So thankfully, like Last Line has tested a few of my games. Actually, I think almost all of them. He records all of his gameplay sessions, and I'm like, I can see where it happened. And sometimes like he had a bug where in Athos, if you killed a boss, so when you kill a boss in Athos, a timer will start. And then it'll warp you out of the boss arena. So if you paused when that timer started, it would soft lock the game. So I'm like, I know what you did. You paused. Okay, that's easy to fix. Other things, but bugs are the worst, man. Because sometimes you'll spend days, sometimes a week, chasing something down, and sometimes it's something stupid or just something you didn't think of. Because like when you make a game and you test it yourself, you know, like what's supposed to happen, what does what. People just play your game, just start pressing buttons at the weirdest times. Like in a Mavericks Baghdad Extraction, a very similar bug. He sends me, because John Riggs did a video on the game. He sends me, he's like, hey man, is this supposed to happen? And I said, no, it's not. Can you tell me more about it? And thankfully he found a pretty critical bug. I'm so glad I sent him that game, because I don't know if I would have found it otherwise.
Yeah.
It would have soft like the game's like the games would be like 5 hours long. Thankfully you can save it, but it's a long game. But if you didn't save, you could lose hours of progress. So I was glad he found that. But yeah.
Have you ever come across a bug that was like, oh, that's fun, now I need to incorporate it?
No. Because like if it's a bug that's not supposed to be there, it might cause problems elsewhere in the game. Now, in my first game, Desert of the Undead, there's some collision bugs, like how in Super Mario Brothers 1, where like you can duck and go through the wall.
Yeah.
When I was after I'd first released the game, a couple people were speed running it, and they found a collision bug to where you could like jump like at the right angle. If there's spikes on the ground in a solid area, you could like go through the screen, and they would use that to like certain parts of the game to make it go by faster, just pass obstacles. And I was like, I'm going to keep that in there because, you know, if you can figure it out, it's pretty cool. But as far as like actually
have those type of things, like you said in Super Mario Brothers and stuff, those great games have the same type of thing. So it's like, hey, look,
every NES game is going to have a bug somewhere. Mm-hmm. They're all going to have some sort of bugs. It's impossible to track them all down.
That's fun though. I like those kind of stories of like, yeah, you find those little tweaks and it's like, oh hell yeah, we can do that. That'd be fun. And so I'm glad you left those in. Those are always interesting to find. So speaking of interesting to find, then have you left Easter eggs in your games? Ooh, and then if you have, are there some that maybe people haven't found yet?
Trying to think of the one you're showing now. There's an Easter egg on one of the special editions. I don't know if anyone's gonna know it on the because on the special edition there's a dog tag that comes with it, and there's something written on that. There's just two things written on the dog tag. One is kind of like a personal Easter egg. Nobody would know it except me. Yeah. Okay, I'll tell you what this one is because no one's going to know it anyways. So the date on the dog tag, because like it says like Mavericks Baghdad Extraction. I might have one here. Do I still have one here? Oh yeah, I do still have one here. So it says, it says Maverick John. That's his name. Operation Baghdad Extraction, and then there's a date 6/23/2003. That's the date I enlisted in the military. So that's a personal Easter egg for me. And then it says NES 005 collector class. Now, NES 005 is a model number. And if anybody could guess what that is without Googling it, you can get a shilling or a shekel, whatever you want.
Nice.
But I'll give you a clue. It's a light gun game because you can use a light gun in the game. So that should be a little bit of a hint for you.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. So how hard was it to program for that? Or was it?
Again, so because the NES maker, yep, it's the Zapper. Last line got it. It's the Zapper model number. What's up, Born? Born distracted. Oh, I'm sorry. What was the question? Oh, was it hard to program for the light gun? So thankfully, because of NES maker, there's a lot of experienced devs that have been coding in a 6502 for some of them probably since like the 90s. So a lot of these people in the community will post tutorials and how to do certain things. And somebody had posted a subroutine for a light gun to add light gun feature into your game. Mm-hmm. So I was able to kind of use that, and the subroutine he put was super basic. So I was able to take that code and expand on it, kind of build my own into it, make it a little bit different for how I wanted to do it. So it wasn't terribly difficult because of the support. What was more difficult was because you could use both the controller and the light gun. So it was like a balancing act of like, if I make it easy with the controller, it's going to be way too easy with the light gun. But if I make it like a challenge with the light gun, it's going to be impossible with the controller. So it was like a really fine balancing act. It's still pretty hard with the controller because you just can't move the cursor across the screen fast enough. So you get hit more, but it's doable. Like Nico plays indie. Shout out to him. I think he did I think it was him or might've been another guy. Might've been somebody else I'm thinking of actually. He got to the end. He's like, I need a lot of lives. He had like 23 lives. I think he beat the game with like 15 by the end boss. So.
Wow. That's eating up some lives there. But at least it's beatable. Like that's the last thing you'd want to hear probably is like, it can beat your game. Like,
well, that's another challenge when it comes to game development is your game is always going to feel easy to you because you know exactly, like I mentioned playing games with your eyes closed earlier. You can literally play your own games with your eyes closed because you play them so much. So you don't know if something's hard. You know exactly where to stand, exactly when to hit the button to maybe shoot, or it's never going to feel hard to you. So that's why like testing is really important. Cy was my guinea pig for my very Desert of the Undead. I feel so bad for Cy, man. I used to send him some like ridiculous stuff, like because I had no idea what I was doing. I was like, play this game. He'd be like, dude, this is impossible.
We had so
it's
much
not that
fun.
hard.
Yeah, we had so much fun. And I'm notoriously terrible at games, so it was always fun. I would be like, dude, there's no way. And John was like, it's not. All you got to do, look, I'll show you. And he'd be like, and I'd be like, dude, I'm not you.
Cy's very happy I have my own testers now.
I enjoyed helping as much as I could, but there was a certain point when it was like, I am not going to be able to, like, you're going somewhere I can't follow. It was, there was people much better suited to what John needed. And I was happy. Like the game here, Athos, I saw a little bit of it in the beginning, but I was like, I'll just wait until you're done and then I'll play it. Cause I knew I wasn't going to be that helpful and I really want to experience, it's a great game and I want to experience the whole, the whole thing. So I'm looking forward to playing through it. I still haven't done it.
There's an easy mode, Cy.
I know, and I'm grateful.
And an easy mode into an NES game? That's awesome.
And there's a God mode too, so you could do either or. So if you want the real ending, so you can play it on normal to get the real ending. So if you want the real ending, you could try it because the nice thing about God mode in that, it's a secret. But if you hold select on the title screen or the continue screen, it'll turn it on or off. That's the secret. You have to hold it for like 4 seconds, I think. So there you go, Cy.
It's not a very good secret if you tell everybody, but no, thank you, John. Thank you very much.
Nice. Last line said, I think I'm the first person that beat it that wasn't John. So
Yeah, so yeah, Luke's Awakening beat Athos 3 times already. So it's Luke also is not a very big NES game player. So I know if he can beat it, it's not impossible. Athos is I built that game intentionally for people to like beat that game because I didn't want that game because I felt like the storyline was it's got a very detailed storyline for an NES game. There's a lot of cutscenes early on. There's a lot of cutscenes at the end, and it's very cinematic. As best you can for it. So I didn't want people to not experience that. So I feel like the regular like parts, well, most parts of the game are certainly there's some hard parts, but you can get through them.
I've heard other game makers say that, like they've said they're like, I don't want the game to be insanely hard because otherwise people don't beat it and they won't get the whole story. So I mean, I've definitely heard other people say that exact same thing. They're like, I want people to be able to play the game and get through it and enjoy it. I've heard authors say the same thing. They're like, I want the people to enjoy the book to get all the way through it, to get the whole story and not be like, man, you're using too many big words. I can't follow this. And just toss the book.
I got to ask you some questions, John. I have some questions. So let me get through my diatribe real quick, and then you can answer all this stuff.
Should I take notes?
No. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. So first off, I know you're releasing this in a few different ways, like Athos. It's like on NES. It's a ROM. It's a Steam game. I don't know what other platforms. Maybe you can elaborate on that. But if you had a preferred way to play your game, Athos, is it on a CRT on a real hardware? Is it Steam? For reasons for that, or what? Break it down. Like what all is it available on, and what would you prefer to play it on if you were playing it?
Well, you could play it on. You're right, Steam, NES, and then the ROM. Pick your favorite emulator type situation. I always recommend Messin because it's the most. They still work on it all the time. There's updates for Messin. So any of those is fine. It's really up to who. The experience is the same, I think, on all of them. When I do the OLED, when I do my testing, it's all done through Messin. So I have only played through Athos twice on my CRT. That's it. And you learn a lot when you're making a game mechanically and you're testing through Messin because I use an Xbox controller. Which is way more responsive than any of my NES controllers. So it's a little harder on original hardware because you have that there's a hover mechanic. So a big portion of the game is like your movement. You can jump, but you can also kind of like hover around and give you more mobility. But sometimes with the D-pad on the NES, it can be a little I don't want to say cumbersome, but it's not as fluid as like on an Xbox controller. So you kind of like mash the up button a little bit more, which will give you fuel to fly. So you run out of fuel faster. Yeah, it really just depends. I mean, I personally,
the graphics and everything's there's not any obvious difference. Yeah.
No, and honestly, when I make the graphics, like I'm not doing any tricks because like I know how it's going to look certainly on a CRT. Now I will tell you, I guess there are parts in it. So not the underground area. Yeah, it is the underground area. So there's like bright little like crystals in the background. And I didn't do this intentionally. But when you're on a CRT, because of the glow, they actually look like it almost looks like it looks like parallax scrolling because of the way the glow is. Because there's like a delay. I don't know if it's like a delay or how the CRT does it. You don't get that effect when you're playing it on an emulator. The colors will blend a little bit better on a CRT because of the scan lines. So like a good example is Maverick's Baghdad Extraction. In some of the areas I made grass. Well, I dithered the grass. So for those that don't know who dithering is, it's like a color every other pixel. So when you do that, I didn't know this because I've only been making NES games for 2.5 years or whatever. When you do that on the NES and then put it on a CRT, it draws diagonal lines. So then I was like, wait a minute, that looks weird. So I had to go back and change everything to make it, now it looks really good on a CRT. It looks like grass, looks how it's supposed to look. Now that looks better on a CRT because it blends better than if you just see it on your LED screen where it's just kind of like a dithered pattern a little bit. So
yeah, I thought that game looked really good on my old TV. I thought it looked great. Yeah.
I was gonna say, did you just say you've only been making games for 2.5 years?
Mm-hmm.
And how many have you made?
I made 3. Yeah, it's been about 2.5 years. Hold on, just November of 2023. So wait, yeah, it's about 2.5 years.
Wow,
That's all, dude. It's literally all I do. Yeah, it's like I have a problem.
Yeah, when he started in on this, that he vanished. Like we stopped seeing John for a while. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So when's the hockey game coming out? Because I mean,
dude, I would love a Blades of Steel. Are you kidding me? I love that game.
So there's I remember being a kid and we played this baseball game, and I think it was on the NES, where you were playing as robots and each robot had like a different type of specialty or like a different shot, or you could control the baseball or something as you pitched it. So I've always thought it would be amazing to have one of those as like a hockey game and have different guys having different types of shots and that kind of stuff. So
what you should do is a side-scrolling hockey game where the hockey rink is literally like stages long, and you're just like skating through the game like you're in a hockey. Like just keep going.
So you can do that, and then have the referees put you in the penalty box, and then you got to fight your way out of the box in order to get back.
Oh yeah, I see.
I used to intentionally, when I would play Blades of Steel, try and get to a shootout because I thought it was like the coolest graphics ever when I was a kid. It's like, this looks amazing. This looks so
and the
cool.
voice, Blades of Steel.
It was good. It was really good.
Tommy Lasorda baseball remake. That makes sense coming from Tex-Mex. So Luke has brought up this game. Tell us a little bit about Virtua Agent.
So Virtua Agent I made for fun. This is a demake of Virtual Cop. I love Virtual Cop. It's my favorite light gun game ever made. And so I used Maverick's Baghdad Extraction. I used the engine I built for that game for this. So it was this didn't take me much time at all because I already had 90% of the coding done. Literally the only coding I had to do was like the timer to spawn the enemies in, and that took me about 3 weeks. And then I just changed all the assets. But yeah, I loved Virtual Cop as a kid, and I last year I came across a demake on itch, but it was like a PC type demake that you can only play in your browser. It wasn't 8-bit. I mean, it was advertised as 8-bit, but it's like indie 8-bit. It's not actually 8-bit. And I was like, I made a light gun game. I wonder if I can make this on the NES. And I did this last year around November, December, as just for fun because I wanted to take a break from like big projects, and I had this idea in my head for a while. And I sent the music to my sound guy Ryan. I said, "Hey, can you make this music in 8-bit?" And he's like, "Yeah, I can do that." And he sent me to it. It's a 1-for-1 music. It's unbelievable the music he did. So I was like, I have to do it now. So I was like, once I heard the Family Tracker 8-bit Virtual Cop music, I'm like, I have to do this. Yeah, this is a lot of fun. It's free. You can download it on itch. It'll play with a light gun. You can also use a controller. It's harder with a controller. I made it a little bit easier since I released it, but it's a lot of fun. It'd take you about 12 minutes to play through it. But I even did the ending boss. If you ever played Virtual Cop, the Kong, I think his name is, it was like 1-for-1. I show it here in the trailer, but I was proud of that because like I've really improved. Like when I first started doing NES games, I didn't know how to. I sucked at drawing. Like I couldn't make anything. Everything looked like Legos when I made it. So then I learned like shading techniques and stuff like that. And I've gotten a lot better. So I was really proud of the way he came out. His cutscene image, I think I'll show it here. It's like, yeah, right there. I was so proud of that image. I was like, that looks so good.
It actually does look really good.
It does look good, yeah.
So yeah, I had a lot of fun doing that.
That's awesome.
Cy has introduced me to that looks awesome. I love the idea of, what did you call it? A demake?
Demake, yeah.
Yeah, like the idea of taking a game that's on a much more powerful system and then somehow cramming a version of it into an older console is fascinating to me. the one he was the one first side talking about the Castlevania game that's on the, I can't even remember what it is now, the Intellivision or something, and I'm just like,
yeah,
what?
Intellivision.
Yeah, and I'm just like, why would you do that? But apparently that's a thing that people are just like, no, I'm gonna.
People have actually made. People have made. They've demade Bloodborne, I think, on PS1.
Mm-hmm.
They've done levels of Elden Ring onto the PS1. It's crazy. It's crazy what people do.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
There's like Resident Evil on like
Game Boy. Game Boy.
Yeah.
I think it's Game Boy Color or Game Boy Advance. Yeah,
Game Boy Color. That's right.
Actually, looks really good. Like I remember, like, wow, this is good, man.
Yeah.
Because to show depth with one tile, like one tile layer, is really hard. Like on my bite off game that I'm doing right now, it's you're inside of this guy's house, and I need to show depth of the walls. I had to make a bookshelf on the wall, but because it wasn't on the back wall, it was on the side wall, and I'm like, it took me hours to make this stupid bookshelf because you have to get the angles just right.
Mm-hmm.
And you're drawing in 8x8 pixel blocks. You're not drawing the whole bookshelf out. So it's hard. Yeah.
That's
So
crazy.
You did mention like you would do like taking breaks from doing this. So what do you do when you take a break? What is when you're not creating a game, what is it that you do for enjoyment?
Oh, I catch up on my backlog. Yeah, I play games. Yeah, I'll take breaks. Like I took a break after Athos, and I just played the new Doom game, Dark Ages. Spent like 3.5 weeks playing that. Last year, I took a break over the summer, and I played this game called First Berserker Kazan, and another one called AI Limit. They're all Souls games. I love Souls games, and I like really hard games. That's one of the reasons why I have to like dial it back when I try and make NES games, because I'll make a hard game. And I have no problem making a hard game. I actually have an idea. The idea I was talking about earlier when we first started, when you asked me how I get my ideas, the idea I had was a very hard open world Souls-like NES game that's going to be stupid. It's like going to be stupid hard. Like I don't even care. Like it's going to be fair, like, but it's going to be hard. So
if John says it's going to be hard, this is not a game I'm going to be able to get through, but I look forward to seeing it. Yeah.
I was going to say, I'm not testing for you, right?
Luke goes, I'm not going to play that. Just like, it's not for you.
It's like, nope, but very cool, but nope.
So how do you handle criticism?
I welcome it. Nico plays indies. I know he's still in the chat. So I released a demo of Athos 2 months before the Kickstarter launched. And the idea behind that was I wanted people to play it and say if it sucked. Like that's why people do those betas on Steam. They do it on there too. And that's why I did it, because I wanted honest feedback from non-testers. And thankfully I got a lot of good feedback from it. And I welcome it. I think now, granted, there's going to be some things like you're going to get feedback, and I'm like, that's not how it's supposed to be. So thanks for the input, but that's not going to happen. Now, if it's legitimate criticism, like, hey, I don't know what to do here, or this doesn't make sense. Like for you, it's going to make sense because you made the game. You know what's supposed to happen. Mm-hmm. I'll give you an example. In Athos, when you're in the ship, so you have like a safety hub where you're in your like ship orbiting Athos. So you can go up there, like refuel, stuff like that, mission objectives, unlock abilities. Well, everybody would start the game and immediately walk past like everything they're supposed to interact with. Like, I'm like, you're supposed to go there and press the button, but there was like no indicators for that to happen. I knew it was supposed to happen because I made that part of the game. I know you'll be able to do that. Mm-hmm. So Nico was one of the guys, and he said, he uploaded a video, and his video is actually pretty funny because there's a charging station on the ship where you can charge your energy, so you don't have to go farm these crystals that are all over the world, or when you kill enemies, you can just go back to the ship and charge up. Well, the charging station didn't make sense. Like it looked like it was in the background, so everybody would just walk right past it. So that was an example of criticism where I was like, okay, I need to fix this. Like I said, I welcome it. Everything, I would say a large majority of criticism from gamers will only improve your game. Mm-hmm. So you kind of got to be a little humble and recognize that these people are offering that feedback for a reason. I think some devs don't look at it that way, unfortunately.
It reminds me of when the kids are trying to tell the dad write the procedure on how to make a peanut butter sandwich. I don't know if you've ever seen that video. It's one of my favorite videos of all time. And the dad intentionally does everything wrong, like,
and just freaks the kid out.
Oh yeah, he's like, okay, put the knife in the peanut butter, and so handle down in the peanut butter, and take it back out. And oh yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah, I can see that. This one's already kind of been answered, but so how do you, the question was, have you made friends in the community? And obviously the answer is yes. You said, I mean, obviously a lot of the guys that are in the chat here, but like you said, the community that you have for, designing the game and stuff like that. You said there's a Discord and so on and so forth that you can go to for support.
Yeah, so NES Makers has a Discord. NestDev has a Discord. The Facebook pages. I've met some really good people that I talk to almost daily now. Mm-hmm. I met some cool people outside of the dev community who have like covered the games. Yeah, it's awesome, man. It's one of the most like tight-knit communities I've been a part of. And that's what YouTube, I think, like used to have. And that's one of the reasons why I stopped doing YouTube, because I felt like when I started doing YouTube in like 2016, it was like a really like tight-knit group of people, especially if you were making retro gaming content. Like there wasn't that many people, so they all kind of like knew each other. And then it kind of like YouTube, just the way they changed things with algorithms, and it kind of morphed into something I didn't really recognize anymore. Mm-hmm. So the NestDev community is kind of like how that used to be, where it's like we all play each other's games. We, help support each other, whether that's through like, when I posted the picture of the Athos cover art, I had like several people in the dev community reach out, be like, hey, who did that? And I said, this is this guy, James. I was like, let me ask him if I can give you his number. And he's like, yeah, man. And he's gotten work now from that. So it's cool because like we all support each other, and that's what I really enjoy. Like that's the coolest part about it.
Yeah. The gaming community online is, my boy Cyrus has been through the ringer and back. So I was like, when one of my boys is getting into streaming and stuff like that, and I was just trying to warn him. I was just like, hey, listen, the gaming community online, especially on YouTube, can be harsh. Luckily, I haven't really run into that. Of course, I'm not that big yet, and there seems like a good group. There's a lot of them are in the chat right now. But like I see that with a lot of the creatives in the YouTube space, there tend to be. They tend to have pockets like that where it's a lot of positivity, a lot of hey, we're rooting for you if you need anything, it's positive feedback or whatever. So I know those communities are still out there, but just YouTube just wants to keep changing things and making it worse. So
yeah, and it certainly does still exist. You're absolutely right about that. I mean, even like because I go into side streams, I try and catch yours when you stream every so often. I'm usually kind of in the middle with the kids or whatever, making dinner or whatnot, so sometimes I miss it. But yeah, like it's cool. Like I used to tell, because I mean sometimes I'll still sometimes stream. It's been a while. I was actually just gonna archive my YouTube channel recently. I decided not to after talking to a couple of people for one of the reasons you said. There's still like 3 or 4 people that reached out and be like, man, that kind of sucks. And I'm like, what if I do want to stream? Maybe I still would like to have these, even if it's 3 people. I don't care if there's 3 people in my chat. If we're just hanging out talking, like that's the important part. Yeah, dude, I would never want to be a big YouTuber. Like even if I had a game, like if I made a game and it just exploded, that would scare me. That would legitimately it's one thing to like take some criticism, but then when you see what's like written online, like some of the best games have been made, and then you see what people say, and it's like I don't know if I can handle that. That's a lot. So I'm happy with my 265 backers or whatever it is, and less drama. Just like I was on YouTube, I'm happy with my small channel and 5 viewers, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally get it. Here's the question we've been asking every person we've had on the Creative Show. As
I like this one.
How do you feel about AI, and have you used it?
So how do I feel about AI? I think AI can be a good tool if you use it properly. I've used AI to debug code when I'm stuck. It's good if you can prompt it correctly. So like if you have an idea of what your problem in your code is and you prompt it properly, it will help you find your bug. Sometimes it's like stupid stuff. Like I forget what I was doing the other day, and in assembly code you branch. So if you're in C programming, I think they call it if statements, if you're familiar with programming languages. In assembly code, you're just branching. So you're comparing values. And then depending on what a value is, you branch to a certain part of your code. Well, I was missing like a jump routine. So you can branch or you can jump, which just sends you right to another part. And I was missing like a JMP, which is jump, throughout this 600 line page of code. And AI at first was like, it's this. I'm like, it's not that. Check again. And then it was like, it's this. I'm like, it's not that stupid. Check again. And then finally on the third try, it's like, oh, you missed a branching command right here. And I found it. As far as like AI as a creative tool, it's tough. And this is where like I have split opinions sometimes, because as somebody who has no art skill, or who didn't, I've certainly improved. I've certainly improved over the last 2 years. But as somebody who I cannot draw something from scratch. So sometimes people will use AI to generate an image or to get an idea for something. I feel like you can use AI if you prompt it and say, I want a image of, like, for right now, like if you said to me, draw a horse in a stable, I literally cannot see that. Like, I can't see depth, like in my head. I don't know what that looks like. I would draw like what a 3-year-old would make on a piece of paper. I have to have a visual aid to be able to see that and draw that. So what's better for me to do that? Is it better for me to go on Google and find something that somebody created? Or is it better for me to go to AI and say, hey, I need a brown horse. I need a red stable. I need the sun in the left-hand corner. I need yellow flowers in the front. Generate that for me so I have a reference then that I can use. I think that's better than taking somebody's art from Google and creating that way. As far as like game creation using AI, I think you still have to have like why make something if you're not going to be creative at all? Like, cause you hear like these, like, is it Unity? I think that's incorporating total like AI programming.
Really?
Yeah, they're doing a lot of Unity. I want to say it's Unity. I'm like 99% sure it's Unity. But they recently said they're going to be incorporating more AI tools. And a lot of developers actually said, I'm out. I'm not doing that. Because it's going to bring a lot of like, it's a big problem in YouTube. Like right now, if I see like an AI YouTube video, I just turn it off. I go watch something else. Because there's no creativity there. Somebody just prompted an AI and literally copy and pasted the prompt. That's basically what game development is going to be with this UI program that Unity is putting out. So I'm torn. I think in some instances it can be good. In some instances it's void of all creative process. So why even bother? Why are you doing it?
That's kind of the answer we've gotten from almost everyone is it's a good tool, but it is not a replacement. That seems to be pretty much from the creative space, that pretty much seems to be the bar for most people. And I'm definitely, Cy and I have both had conversations about how much to use AI on our channels and stuff, to the point that I'm like, do I replace the intros for the shows? Like, and I'm like, is it worth my time though? Like, I know I'm the only one that cares about the intros because I'm old school and I want an intro for a show, whereas like everyone else doesn't do an intro anymore. But anyway,
yeah, nobody does them anymore. It's crazy, man. Intros used to be like 30 seconds long.
We have done an entire episode of one of our other shows talking about the late great intro music and intros for TV shows and stuff. Because now, like, especially when like Lost started, it was literally just like the word Lost and it made a sound, and that's it. That's all you get. And it's just like, okay, that's the new thing. Sure, why not? Luke's Awakening said NVIDIA DLSS 5. That could kind of go down that route because a lot of people
I haven't even heard about the DLSS 5 situation. I just see everybody keeps talking about it. I didn't even looked into it.
Depending on who you're talking to, it really it's not even like it's upscaling. Like that's the purpose of what it was supposed to be, was to upscale. This looks like it's just flat out AI regenerating it on the fly, and it's
making the graphics look completely different. Like it's
crazy,
very strange. Yeah.
Thankfully, the problem with DLSS is devs are leaning way too much on it to, instead of optimizing their game, they're just saying it works with DLSS, so just use that instead of making it run properly without DLSS. That's the problem I have with DLSS. Like Doom Dark Ages, I don't know what they did, but Doom Eternal, you could run that. I have a really good PC. I have a 4070 with like an Intel i14700F or something like that. It's a really good PC. And I was like, man, what's going on? Like I had to turn DLSS on to like get it over. I'm a snob, dude. I like playing at like 90 plus FPS, but like I was like, it dropped below 60 with like DLSS turned off. I'm like, not gonna happen. So I'm like, I gotta turn it on. So that's my problem I have with DLSS. It encourages lazy development, is what I dislike about it.
The new
my boys and I have go on.
I was just gonna say the new PlayStation thing, they whatever they call their version of it. I don't even have a game that supports it, but I know the new Resident Evil does, and apparently they've figured out a good solution instead of whatever is going on with this NVIDIA thing. It's really disappointing because NVIDIA stuff is so good, like as far as PC is concerned.
Wow.
That doesn't even look like the same thing.
Yeah.
But does it look better?
I mean,
do you think it looks better?
More realistic, but it's also like, is that actually what it's supposed to look like? That almost looks like it's a computer.
Holy shit!
Coming up with the idea.
Yeah,
like here's the thing.
Texmas is saying
I don't think people. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just he's saying it changes the assets or something. I don't know.
But I don't think people are going to care if it just makes the game look better. That's the thing. Like there's so much push. Like it's always been like, oh, it looks so amazing. Like we're always trying for that, like that next level. That like, I mean, we all grew up from like, the Nintendo on up. So we saw the progression and like, oh, PS1 graphics. Oh my God, they're so amazing. And now it's like, is this the next step? Is this how we get there? Is through AI? Like, cause really, I mean, it's crazy. I really don't think, unfortunately, I don't think people are going to care if it just makes the game look better.
Now, supposedly that demonstration I just showed you was running on dual 5090s.
Oh my God.
So it's like, who can run that?
Yeah, that's $5,000 right there. Yeah,
exactly.
Just on the graphics cards.
When I told my boy that, he just like, his jaw just dropped. He's like, Dad, do you realize how much money it is? And I'm just like, yeah, like there's gonna be like 3 people on the planet that can run it. So
that's I liked how I missed who said the comment, but about the filter on they put the
Snapchat filter your games.
Oh yeah, our boy Tex-Mex said yeah, it's like the Snapchat filter games.
Yeah, that's a good way. Yeah.
Last line said, I think it's better in some aspects than not others. The only game I thought definitely looked better was Starfield. I see, and I've like, I have constant rants. I mean, I'm an old school gamer, and I don't really play too much new stuff. But like, when I hear the boys are just like, "Oh yeah, I've got to download the new update for whatever," and it's 30 gigs, and I'm like, for the update, I'm like, no one does. Anyone know how to optimize a game anymore? Like it's just like, no, just dump the raw data out there and make the system run with enough horsepower.
Well, it's gonna become a problem because memory and hard drives are going to be getting more expensive. So like, you can't keep doing this. Like you're going to hit a brick wall. Some of these games are hundreds of gigs. This was ridiculous. That's insane to me.
Yes, I and I cover. We've been covering Ramageddon, as it's being referred to, and it's funny. It goes down, and then like actually, some of the RAM has actually slowly been coming back down, And then right after this announcement, it jumped back up. So it's like, never mind. We're all screwed when it comes to
so
gaming.
so is it because these like companies like Crucial, they stopped making RAM for
that is the main problem.
You and me, right? Basically, because they have these AI data centers. Do you think like once these data centers are online and they're not building so many of them, do you think maybe it'll come back down? And do you think it'll start? I asked this the other day to my boss because we were talking about it, and he's like, "No, it's just going to stay up." And I'm like, "There's no way. It can't."
Well, they burn through
it.
The problem is they burn through it and have to replace it like constantly. And the more they had to replace. So
yeah, so I and I've done lots of different stories on this. I've actually come around to the idea of the AI bubble is coming. If you look at how much money they're burning through, it's
too fast.
Yes,
like this is like the internet. The internet bubble. Yeah, the .com bubble was the same way. It just was like a straight line up.
Yeah,
and this is exactly I think this is way faster than that. Yeah.
So literally, you've got them promising all of this, and we even did a story where we were talking about how the hardware they're working on now is getting burned out, and they're having to replace it every 6 months. So it's like, how are you going to keep building more when you have to replace what you've got now? And in some cases, even if it's not burned out, they're like, well, it's not efficient for us to run it on the current hardware. We need what you literally have promised next week. And it's, I just personally, I don't think it's sustainable. Now, I think Meta will be able to keep going. Google will be able to keep going because they make money other ways. But like ChatGPT, like they're expected to run out of cash mid 2027. So who knows?
Oh, wow.
But yeah, I wanted to throw that one at you because, like I said, we asked that of everyone who's on the creative show, what your thoughts are and stuff. So
I'll tell you, it's a very divisive subject within the development community as well. Like, I bet. Especially like in the Nest Dev Discord, there's been people that have shared AI images and they got crucified for it to the point where it's like, listen, like the guy was like, dude, I don't know an artist, and the ones I've reached out to haven't gotten back to me, or they want this. They want to charge you an astronomical fee. It's like, so unfortunately in that instances, like where there are some creatives that don't know how to do, like, certainly you can get better, but you want to put something that doesn't look like a 3-year-old dinosaur on your cover. So like a dinosaur drawn by a 3-year-old. So it's like, it kind of, that's why I'm so thankful I found James, the guy who did my cover art, because I can't, like, it would take me a decade to get good at drawing, and then that would be the only thing I have to do. So it'll be interesting.
Ray has actually been a big proponent of people are going to start wanting real. They're going to want the real. They're going to want something made by people, and I'm definitely already starting to see that. So yeah, and then like, I think
that's going to be industry based though too. And depending on who the consumer is, because there was a do you guys hear about that Coca-Cola commercial? That was the bear commercial. That was nothing but AI. And 90% of the people who saw that commercial wouldn't have been the wiser had you not told them it was AI. Because they don't care. Yeah. So I think it's really I think it's the big artistic areas, music, art. I think people are gonna want that. I don't like this. There's AI music out there, and I use Suno sometimes, like the song I did for Virtua Agent, the little trailer song. I use Suno for that, but I'm not gonna like listen to AI music. Like,
I agree. It has its purpose. It has its usage. So like we used it. All of the intros for our shows now are using it. But like I don't have the number one. I have no musical talent. I don't have the money to pay anyone what I think they would be worth. And I'm not going to do the thing where it's, you'll get publicity or whatever, that I'm not. Everyone, if you've been a creative long enough, that's the biggest lie out there is, if you do this for me, you'll get some recognition or whatever.
I think that's my trouble with AI the most, is that it's going after the fields that people like. It's going after the arts, and for crying out loud, don't go after the arts. Go after the boring shit that nobody wants to do.
Yeah. So
art is one of those things. I read an article. It was like a lot of people. It's easy to spot AI art because the way our minds see. So our mind. There's like no rules in art, but our mind is is you can see certain things. Like if you look at a person, it's very easy to it's like if I have like a finger that's off, like you'll see that because it's not anatomically correct. So we're genetically designed to notice those things. But like music is tough because music follows like music is rule based when you create music. So it's very easy for AI to copy that. Did you guys hear about there was an artist on Spotify that had like millions of listeners per day. Yeah. And then they found out it was AI, and it's like nobody would have even known that was AI. So in that sense, it's kind of scary sometimes because it's like sometimes you don't know. Some things are super easy to spot. Others, it's not so easy.
And yes, Tex-Mex, we did a story on that last week. The Supreme Court decided they were not going to take on the case for right now, AI art, at least visual art, cannot be copyrighted. And I went to a whole rabbit hole on that one. So, but anyway, how
do you guys? I know you want to move on, but I just have one question since we're on the topic, and this is really just I'm curious. So remember, I talked about there's like no original ideas. So like when it comes to AI art, everyone, the biggest thing you hear about AI art is it just copied everybody else's art to get what you're seeing. But I think in like some regards though, isn't that what people do as well? So I'm curious like how you view that.
This is what we talked about. It's funny you said it's funny.
Yeah. So there's you actually, if you're dreaming or whatever, and you see a face, like you're not capable of creating a face in your mind. You've pieced that together with other people you've seen throughout your life, and then your brain has created this face. So AI is doing the same thing. So I always wondered, like, and I really don't know what to think about it because I just don't know enough to form like a really valid opinion. But I was wondering, like, if that's like an issue that AI is doing it, we kind of do the same thing, though.
So I mean, I've heard that thought process, and I know there's a couple of books out there. I haven't read them. I keep forgetting the titles. I need to go back and look. But it's like there's a theory out there that like literally there's like 5 stories, and everything can be broken down into that. And whenever you start going through it, and you're talking about what the beats or how this goes, and I was just like, yeah, but it's yes, and it's how you take that thing and you reskin it, or you bash it together with something else. And I mean, like, because I mean, a lot of the books that we're doing in the book show are lit RPGs, so a lot of them follow kind of a base idea, but depending on how you put your spin on it is what makes it interesting and worth doing. So to kind of go back to what you were saying, like it's, there are lots of different, NES games that are side scrollers or whatever, but it's your spin that makes it interesting. And
it was a person, and it was a fellow human who we can relate to.
Yeah.
How did they go through that and do that? I get that. Yeah,
So
I hadn't thought of it that way. It's a good way to think of it. Like almost like we crave that like human to human interaction, whereas it's just like a AI code. It's like it feels more empty.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's funny. So I started going to like drawing sessions a couple of years ago in order to improve my art and improve my drawing skills and all that stuff. And that's something that we always talk about of like, it's the connection between creating something and then seeing different perspectives. Because the funnest thing that we do after we're done a drawing session is looking at everybody's different perspective of the same model and our different techniques of the same model, right? So we're all seeing something that's a little bit different, and then we put our own spin on it as well. The techniques that we use to get there may be influenced by others, but nobody will ever create the exact same thing that each of us is creating.
It's how my 15-year-old daughter draws like anime. When I say draws anime, this is stuff you would see in like manga books. It's unbelievable what she can do. So I asked her the same question, and she told me basically exactly what you just said. And she's only 15, and she's well aware of like the AI, and she's like, Dad, it sucks. If I want to pursue this, I'm not going to have any job opportunities. So like, man, I feel for this younger generation who has to compete with this stuff because, man, that's tough.
Yeah.
I honestly think that's why people are going to go back to wanting a real version of those things. So you could get a print of all the AI stuff, but to actually have a real one that somebody created that is unique that's going to be what is gold, and that's where people are going to go after.
Let me. I was reading Luke's comment about the AI music, and I want to say something about the music thing.
Do you?
I don't. Maybe I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. I've been making privately AI music for a while now, and I don't know what people think the process is for that, or what it should be for that, or how it works for other people. I don't know. I can just tell you what I've done. And so I used to write a lot of poetry back in the day. I was a big poetry writer, and I actually stopped writing poetry. We'll get a little personal. Let's get a little personal for a second. Let's do that. This show is about John, but I'm going to talk about me for a second. How about that? So I used to write poetry all the time. And when I got divorced, I was using my poetry as therapy for me to express myself. And the last poem I ever wrote was called Let It Go. And I didn't realize at the time. Exactly. This is the story. I didn't realize at the time that there was this thing called Frozen. And as soon as I put this poem on Facebook, a good friend of ours, who might also be in the chat, let me know that was a hilarious title to use for this very personal poem about the pain that I was going through in my divorce, and how funny it was that I was using that. And that was the last time I wrote a poem, because that was not the feedback I was looking for. But but I like writing.
Cyrus handles criticism.
That's right. I don't handle criticism very well. I've never handled it very well. So anyway, I stopped writing poetry for years. And when I got reintroduced to AI music, and it was me and John talking about it, actually. And he's like, oh, this is really interesting. I don't know. What do you think? And I looked into it, and I started playing around with it, goofing around. And I created AI music for my channel. And I started making funny AI songs that were goofy, whatever, songs about video games and random stuff. And then I was thinking to myself, I was like, you know what? I wonder if I could make real music, like for me, not I'm going to sell and say, look, I made an album, but like for me, like maybe I could write poetry and turn it into music. So I started writing poetry, feeding it into Suno, and it would give me something. And then I would edit that. Once I had the music and I knew what it was going to do with the music, then I would go back and re-edit to make it make more sense as a song. And then I would render that or let it do it. And then I'd go back and change it again and change it again. And I would change the same song. Some of these I changed like 50 times before I got them to where I liked what was going on with it. And I created something that I actually like to listen to. And I've only shared that music with like 3 people. Nobody's actually listened to it except me, as far as I know. But it's totally fine with me, because it's just a personal way for me to create something and feel. And I know that like some people would say it's AI music, like Luke was saying, it's soulless. It doesn't have any, it's just this thing. And I'm like, well, it depends on how you use it. It depends on how you make it, I think. Because the music that I made, no, it's not real music. There's no real band. I don't know shit about actually making music. I can just edit and manipulate to get it to do something that sounds cool for me. And that's about as musical as I'll ever get. But I'm kind of proud of it, because I've been able to use that desire that I have to write poetry and tell a story in a way that I've never been able to before. So for me personally, it's very rewarding. Maybe everybody else in the whole world would think it's shit, but for me, I like it. And maybe that's part of what we can get out of these tools. Maybe sometimes it's not for the masses. Maybe it's just something for us personally.
See, and that's where I think using it in the right way, I totally support. So when I'm saying that people are going to be drawn towards like real art, That don't like I'm not shitting on people that use AI for it. I've used AI myself to get an image out of my head so that I can draw it and do my own thing with it. So it's using those tools. I love that you've made that stuff. And yes, I will be listening to it.
Well, here's the thing. Let me go back. I'm not saying this because I want you to listen to it. In fact, some of the things they're saying in the chat, I appreciate what they're saying, but this is why I would never put it out to the public, because it's a very personal thing for me because of what it is. I do not want people breaking it down, telling me how garbage it is. I'm not doing that. I'm way too sensitive about this to put it out there for anybody. But I do recognize that that's a me problem for something that I'm creating, and that's why it's not being put out there for everybody. So you win, internet, but I'm still gonna do what I do. So.
Absolutely, and I support that. I think it's very therapeutic and very interesting to follow those processes, because you never know where it could lead. What I think is going to change, though, is people are not going to be paying for those types of things. People are going to be paying more for the real things that are actually out there. So people are, instead of going, especially if AI gets into movie making, people aren't going to the theater to watch an AI movie.
Right.
But they will go to the theater and watch people perform a play. And I think your smaller theaters will actually pick up more of that.
The market is really going to dictate where this goes, I think. The movie thing is interesting to me because I feel like, and I know I don't know if you have a hard cut off, Eugene, so I apologize if we keep going.
We're good,
dude. I would say like 90% of moviegoers are like me, super casual. Mm-hmm. I will watch whatever. If I just don't feel like playing video games or whatever, or working on something, I'll just watch a movie. I'll pick a movie on Netflix or whatever. I don't care. I watched that War Machine last week or 2 weeks ago, or whatever, that new one on Netflix. I really enjoyed the movie. Now, I didn't know anything about this movie going in, and I thought it was a good movie. So if I watched that movie and then someone told me it's not, but hypothetically that was an AI movie, would I have thought any different about it? I don't know. Like I like the movie. So like it's going to be interesting. I think we're going to get to that point before the crash where we do start seeing those AI movies. Mm-hmm. It'll be real interesting to see what the market does, or how consumers react to that.
You see it with books already, right? AI books and the backlash that those authors are getting.
Journalism's really bad. Journalism's getting really bad with it. I mean, you heard about that it was a game journalist that had come out. This is like a year ago, maybe less than that, and they found out it was like just AI. They were writing these AI articles. Sometimes it's super obvious. Like I can watch a YouTuber, and if they're reading a script, I can tell because I've used AI back when it first started on my YouTube channel to help generate scripts for me, and I would have to go in and change it, and I knew exactly, like, how it talks. Retro gaming channels are the worst. If you would like to come back to the golden age of gaming, like it's like that's AI. So you can almost always tell, like, click off. So you can tell sometimes.
Yeah.
I'd say we have a running bet. There's a group of guys I hang out with at work. We have a running bet as to when we get emails from our school district as to how heavily it was written with AI, because some of it's just like, where is this coming from? This doesn't make any sense. I did think of something I wanted to ask you about, though. How, and I know this has been a thing because I've heard Cyrus talk about it. How prevalent, problematic is stealing games, like stealing your stuff? Like, are you one of those people that's just like, you want to make sure that no one's getting a copy that's not supposed to have it? Are you just like, I want more people to play my games than not? Because I know people come down on both sides of it, and I get both sides of it as well.
Talked about this a little bit with Mike's Gaming Gal 2 weeks ago. And, the thing with piracy is, like, you're never going to stop it. It's always going to be there. Thankfully, I feel like from a homebrew aspect of things, it's the people who are going to support you if they want to play the game. They'll support the developer. If someone's going to steal the ROM, there's nothing I can do about it. I mean, I'd rather, what am I going to do? Punish the hundreds of people that want to play it digitally just because one guy was an asshole and decided he was going to download it illegally? I mean, it happens. I've seen some fellow developers, their games show up on like AliExpress, and it's like, what are you going to do? You could, send them a letter. You could request a takedown, but it's just going to come up somewhere else. So some guys look at it as like a badge of honor when they see that. Because unfortunately, like if you search your game title and the first thing that comes up is an AliExpress listing, that could suck because like there's an actual publisher maybe, a few lines down on Google. And unfortunately, a lot of people just go straight to the first link on Google. So in that aspect, it sucks. But, it's just one of those things like you're not going to defeat it, man. It's always going to be there. And I think offering it digitally does help actually dissuade some of the piracy, because you look at stuff like look what Napster was doing, and then everything went digital, and then now like when was the last time in the early 2000s, man, I would download movies all the time off like Kazaa and LimeWire. Like I was always downloading shit, stealing movies. Like I don't have to do that anymore, because everything's just so readily available.
And it's funny you say that too, though, because my daughter has gotten into record collecting and she loves listening to records because there's no ads. She owns it. She can listen to it as many times as she wants. Like it's, yeah.
What do we talk about, Cyrus? Of course, the article said Gen Z, but like they're bringing
physical stuff, dude. We're definitely reestablishing a connection to the value of it, and the kids, the young people are discovering.
You think Gen Z is too?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We did a story about how the decline, like in 23 and 24, physical, I think DVD and Blu-ray sales were down 20%, but last year it had slowed to 9%. So it's not up, but it had slowed down, and a bunch of movie rental stores, which apparently are still a big thing in some larger cities, are actually seeing an uptick in people coming in because they're tired of having to constantly subscribe to everything, and they're tired of spending 45 minutes trying to figure out what to watch. They just want to go into a store, find a disc, grab it, and go home with it.
The subscription thing is a real problem. Because I remember, so back in 2012 was the first time I cut the cord as far as cable goes. And like Netflix, that was it. Netflix. And then there was some stuff on Roku that we had, but it was all free stuff.
Yep.
And now it's like, man, I was going through my subscription list the other day. I'm like, I pay way more now than I ever would have paid for cable. This is insane. Yep. So it's wild, man.
Yep.
Yeah. Tex-Mex has a really good point. Like, it's hard to remember where everything is that you even want to see, and they keep changing it, and the ads, and it's nuts. It's nuts. Yeah.
I bought movies on Amazon Prime. I totally forgot I have them in my digital library. Because like I bought them years ago and they're in my Amazon Prime library. But like I'll be like searching for a movie, and then I'm like a day later I'm like going through my Prime list. I'm like, oh shit, I have that movie. Why didn't you just tell me I had the movie? I was searching for it for hours.
Yep.
Oh yeah, they're not going to tell you that.
No.
Oh, it's a physical copy. Sure, we can do that.
Yeah. It's funny. The last thing I'll say about this is, our oldest has nostalgia for the 90s, and she talked about that with us a bit. And somebody's done some studies on it, and basically the 90s and the early 2000s are the last time that the humanity as a whole really had moments where we would connect on certain things, so watching TV series and like doing those. We would watch them collectively, and we don't
talk about it.
Yeah,
you go to school, you go to work, and then you talk about, did you see the episode of Seinfeld, or did you see the new Simpsons episode? Now it's like, we'll just watch it whenever. Yep. Netflix drops a series, it's available on the weekend, and you don't go to work and talk about it the next day.
Yeah, we would talk about it and what we thought was going to happen on the next one. We would speculate and think things would live in your
Mr.
head.
Burns. Who shot Mr. Burns? Like that was
Oh
our
my God, yeah. Yeah, I remember that, man. That was crazy. Yeah, we don't do this. Doesn't happen anymore. It's almost like that like the connectivity almost actually separated us a little bit because we have everything so available. Like you would think like it's going to bring more people together, but it's kind of like everybody's just in their own little world now. You ever? I mean, I have a 19, almost 20-year-old who's moved out. She's in the military. I have my 15-year-old and I have a 9-year-old, and it's like I have to interact with Gen Z a lot, and their interactions are weird to me, especially like because I have to go to my youngest. She cheers, so she has to go to the high school where they have their practices. So sometimes I have to like interact with a high school kid, and when you talk to these people, sometimes they have no idea how to communicate with you. It scares me a little bit, and it's worse now than it was a couple years ago. They literally like. They call it Gen Z, Gen Z face or something like ghost face. There's a term for it. It's like a blank stare they just give you. It's like you're communicating with me, not on a phone. What do I do?
There is.
I'm not trying to shit up. Yeah, I feel like Gen Z does get a bad rap, but like there are some things like you see from the shift from social media, the culture shift. You see it. It's so different.
Social media, not to mention COVID happened during a very, very vital time during their life. And like that's like a couple of years of their life was spent behind a mask and just from other people, right? So there's definitely some impacts on us as a social creature. So really interesting.
I was going to bring it back. My boy also has like all of a sudden kind of out of the blue discovered his a love for the Nintendo DS that I gave him years ago. Like all of a sudden he's like all about playing. And I'm just like, what are you doing? He's just like, I'm just playing the DS. You know, he's got a decent gaming computer. I mean, he streams Fortnite and stuff, but he's just like, Dad, playing some of these old games are awesome. I'm like, yes, retro gaming is awesome. And I'm like,
there's something,
get that into one of them.
It's not just
my 14-year-old. I bought her a 3DS for Christmas. She loves that thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm like, what do you want a 3DS for? She's like, I want to play Animal Crossing. All the Animal Crossing games.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just nostalgia. There's something very special about those older games, simpler games. There's something really cool. Yeah. Speaking of retro games, and to bring it back, John, do you have any ideas about where you're going to be going in the future? New projects, new ideas, new things you're working on? What's next for you? What are you doing?
So like I said, I'm doing this bite off game demo for this competition right now, and it's there's a lot of logic coding involved with it because the game can change based off the decisions you make. So it's like nothing but logic. It's total like mind melt when I make this game, but it's so worth it. So I was, remember how I told you I built that little, I don't know if I showed you, I put it on my YouTube channel. It's a little like, it looks like asteroids, but it's Alien Smash. It's like a super simple game within a game. And I'm like having so much fun. And I'm like, dude, I just want to make a really simple, fun game. And then like, I was recently playing another devs game. This is it right here. And it's a super simple arcade platformer. And I was having so much fun playing this game. And I'm like, I want to do a RBG Entertainment black box series where I do 3 games, super simple arcade black box style games, and they're just fun to play. So I want to go back to like just keeping like super simple stuff,
but
like
just
make it as fun as possible. It's exactly like Astro Smash. That's what it is. So like there's no sound, but the music's really cool. Like when it hits the ground, it shakes and type sound. But there's like no effects in this because it's like I said, it's just a little game within a game.
Well, you know, I'm interested in that.
Oh, absolutely.
Very nice. Very nice.
Casey saw it. He's like, this looks amazing. I was like, yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's super simple. I use like 3 tiles to make this the background. But yeah, I want to do like just some like black box style fun games. I don't want to do anything. Athos really like took a lot out of me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it'd be fun to just go simple for a bit.
Nice.
Sometimes those are the most fun games, man. Yeah,
absolutely.
Oh, dude, that's. I mean, you're talking to the guy who does. Yeah. Yeah, it's not just nostalgia. There's something really fun about the simple stuff. Absolutely. Yeah, that's cool.
Well, I want to thank you so much for joining us. I'm so glad we got you on the show. I know Cyrus was giving me crap because it didn't get you on earlier, but
I did, John. I was giving them some major shit about this because what is it? I'm trying to remember exactly how this went. It was like, hey, maybe I don't remember how this happened. John was like, maybe I come on sometime, do the show. And Eugene's like, oh yeah, let's see. Maybe I could work you in like 2 months, and then we'll, after I do this and this and this, then maybe I'll get to you. And I was like, and Eugene's like, I didn't do that. I'm like, yeah, you kind of did do that, Eugene.
This worked out really well because honestly, if it had been like 2 weeks ago, I wouldn't have been able to do it. I was so busy. So I kind of
that's why I was giving him shit because I was like, John's busy. Like he's like,
Eugene.
He's I got him. I could work in if we do it. And then Eugene's like, I'm super important.
Why am I still friends with you? Because I love you. That's why. Well, like I said, thank you so much for joining us, man. Your stuff is awesome. Like it's always one thing to hear that, what blows me away is the fact that, yeah, you've made games. That is super cool. The fact that you can literally put it on a cartridge and put it in the OG hardware and play it like, I guess you'd say the way it's meant to be. That is mind blowing to me because especially if you told me that as a kid, it's like, look at that. Look at that.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's a collector
edition. What a cool looking
card. You told me
way.
As a kid, as an adult, you could make a game and actually put it in the Nintendo. Never. I would have never imagined that as a kid that would be something that you could do in the future.
It's funny when I tell some like family members, like, because sometimes they're like your harshest critics. I'm like, yeah, I'm making a Nintendo game. And they're like, what? Like, people still play that? Yeah, man, people do. It's crazy.
It's hard to believe. Like if someone says that, like I'm making an NES game, the concept is it takes you a second to process because you're like, how would you even do that? And for who are people? Yeah, people that aren't familiar with like the retro scene or whatever, it'd be like people still would play the game for the Nintendo. Like, yeah, it's kind of mind blowing. Yeah. I think that's what's really cool about it though, is you're doing something that's, it's not just a game. It's on Steam, sure, but it's not just another game on Steam. It's like something that it's got a certain style to it. It's got a certain magic to it, and it's not for everybody. It's for a specific, a type of person, so it's a
compelling. Legit Nintendo game. It's not like a Nintendo game. Like you said, it's not on Steam. It's not like
exactly.
A Nintendo game. It's
not a retro style game. It's you know how like they put out these games on whatever, and they make the graphics kind of look like NES, but they're not. But this legitimately plays on an NES. I
actually before I started playing other homebrew games, I actually used to like those types of games on Steam, and I like them a lot less now. Because it's cool, but it's like you don't have the limitations that some of these other games have. And I feel like that's the beauty of it is how you see these developers work around the limitations that they have.
It's a totally different type of thing. Like I'll still play those games, but they're not, it's a totally different type.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Some of them are amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, does anyone have any other questions? If not, we'll get into
I have a question.
All right. What is your question?
It's very important. I've been waiting this whole thing before I brought this up.
Okay.
Long time ago, I went to visit John, and I was promised that I was going to get a Philly cheesesteak. And I just want to know, like, what is so special about the Philly cheesesteaks in Philly? Like, what is the thing? Like, I didn't get to have one for some reason. I don't remember exactly what. I do remember, but I'm not going to say. But what's up with the Philly cheesesteaks? Tell me what I missed.
Yeah, so I'll tell you. It's what most people don't realize. It's the bread. So the bakeries from the local areas depending on how the bread is made, that's the secret, and then the meat as well. So depending on what like butcher you're using, where you're sourcing your meat. Those are the two biggest. Anybody could go to the store and grab some steak, chop it up,
right?
And
yeah,
put it on a roll.
But I know there's
the bread and the steak.
Yeah. So
it's funny. I had to go to San Antonio last year for work, and I got off the plane, and the first thing I saw was Philly cheesesteaks, San Antonio. I'm like, stop it, relax. I wanted to walk over there and be like, Philly cheesesteak, huh?
Dude, who's going to San Antonio to get Philly cheesesteak? That's
one of those.
When you hear you go somewhere else and you're just like Texas brisket, like in Nebraska,
dude.
Suspect.
I had. You guys are all from. Are you from Texas?
No, he's Canadian.
Okay. I went to San Antonio last year and I ate brisket for 4 days straight. I went to this one place in it's north of San Antonio. It's in Seguin, Texas. It was called Black's Barbecue, and apparently this place is like rated number 2 in the country or some crazy. Because I have an old Navy buddy who lives out there, and I told him I was going to be out there. He's like, "Dude, I'm going to take you this barbecue spot." I'm not even kidding you. I ate there Monday night when I got there, Tuesday for lunch, and then Tuesday for dinner. And then the other 2 days, I was like, I have to experience other places. Your barbecue, your shitty barbecue is like some of the best barbecue I've ever had. Like I went to the grocery store in Hebs, it's H-E-B.
H-E-B.
They got their barbecue, and even their barbecue from the grocery store was out of this world. I was like, holy shit. Dude, if I lived in Texas, I would weigh like 600 pounds. But I also noticed, like, I didn't eat, like, up until I got, like, a big barbecue brisket sandwich, I didn't eat carbs for, like, 3 days straight. Because I was literally eating meat and green beans. Because the green beans were even good. Wow. You guys don't play around when it comes to barbecue.
Next time you come down, if you go to San Antonio, Austin, Dallas, wherever, you got to eat Mexican food. Like our barbecue is amazing.
Dude, I lived in Arizona for 5 years. I know about good Mexican food.
All right.
Don't forget.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's true. That's a good point.
Yeah, no. That's all I ate it was a trade-off because you can't get good Italian food. Northeast, you get good Italian food. You can't get Mexican food out here to save your life. In Arizona, it was the opposite. You could get amazing Mexican food, but there's no good Italian spots.
Okay. So when I come up next time, whenever that is, Philly cheesesteak, and we're going to an Italian place, and you gotta point. You gotta help me.
There's a place in Philly. If you do come up here again, I'll try and make some time. If you go to too many games or whatever it is that you do, there's a new cheesesteak place in Philadelphia. It's his name is fleeting me right now, but he was in the Philly Mafia. He's got a YouTube channel.
Oh, okay.
Joey now something. But he's this big social media presence now. Apparently, he's not in the mob anymore. Who knows? But it's funny. They have like this big internet war now with him and Gino's Steaks. I'll send you his link on Discord or something. It's funny.
Thank you, John.
But we'll have to check that. But I've been wanting to go down there and check that place out.
Hell yeah. All right.
Because you were a Cowboys fan in Philly, apparently is why.
Don't get me started on those people.
Look, I've told John this before. They're not Cowboys fans. They're Eagle haters. There's a big difference. A Cowboys fan,
exactly what they are.
You see what I'm saying?
They're contrarians.
Yep.
Because the Cowboys fans I met out west they're like docile. They've been beaten down for so long. They're like,
yes.
Like my neighbor was a Cowboys fan, and the first time the Eagles went to the Super Bowl, he was talking to me. He had to come over give me something or whatever. And it was like the few days before the Super Bowl. He's like, just so you know, I'm going to root for your Eagles. So I was like, why? I was like, if there was a Cowboys, I wouldn't root for the Cowboys.
I was rooting. I was rooting too, John. I was rooting for you guys.
I know you. It's because you guys are different out there, man. Because it's like, I don't know. You're not. Ones out here are jackasses,
I loved, Saint Nick. I was a huge fan as long as he was with the team.
He's from Texas. Yeah.
Oh well, there you go. But yeah. Anyway, it was a special time for you guys, and I was very happy you had that Super Bowl. One day, maybe when Jerry Jones dies, maybe we'll see what happens.
Yeah, you and I had that conversation. All right, let's go ahead and move on to our social media stuff. John, where can we find you online?
Twitter, X or whatever it is now, at @the_retrobro. And then YouTube, just type the Retro Bro on YouTube. Those are the only two social medias I use. publicly.
Fair enough. Like I feel you on that one, man. Like that's
Yeah, I try to limit it, man, because otherwise, like I'll go down a rabbit hole. But I so on my YouTube, I'll just mostly if I post a video, it's like just little game clips of stuff I'm working on. Mm-hmm. I'll stream here and there. I'm going to be streaming here in the next probably week or two because everyone's going to be uploading their NES Bite-Off game demos. So I really want to go through and play those. There's going to be, I think there's like 100 devs competing this year.
Wow.
So that'll be a lot of fun.
See, that's a community right there. That's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Some of them are first time devs, never made a game before. Others are devs with like multiple releases under their belt. So you always get like a wide range of types of games. It's really interesting. And some of the most basic games for some of these new devs, just to see what they come up with. Sometimes those are the most interesting to me. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That sounds fun. Ray, where can we find you online?
The Reluctant Yeti on Instagram, and then the other one would be the.bookpeddler on Instagram as well. So that's for the shop. Yeah. as Eugene has asked us to call it.
Yeah, yes, the shop. Because anyway, that's a side comment. Cyrus, where can we find you?
You can find me at _retro. I mean, excuse me. Well, some other place, whatever. It doesn't matter.
The Cy Show. What was it called again? What did we say it was going to be called? The Cy Show, or
I don't remember. My memory is so bad. I basically have Alzheimer's at this point.
Cy Guy.
That's right. It's the Cy Guy Show. Yeah, that works. If you want to follow my individual wacky adventure, you can find me at Optimus Jane. It's pretty much just reposting the stuff that's on the main site, which is at Epically Geeky, where you can find all the shows that we do. But we'll talk about that here in just a second. Dude, thanks again, John. It's been a lot of fun having you on here, man. And yeah, we'll have to
thank you.
Keep up and see what else you've got. You keep putting out there. So. I guess for everyone on the site. Oh, let's real quick before I do that. Let's thank everyone that was in the chat tonight. Gotta thank the chat. Let's see. Last Line was here. Luke's Awakening. Tex-Mex, who doesn't show up that often, but it's always fun when he does. Giannis. I guess we scared off Vigo. So Giannis.
We never got Vigo. Yeah, what was up with that? We just had
my boy Wolfus was in here. I know. Let's see. Who else was in here? Like I said, Tex-Mex was in here. They were pretty active. I can't.
Luke's Awakening.
Yeah, Luke's Awakening was in here last night. Like I said,
Nico plays indies.
That's right. Nico plays indies. More Distracted was here. So thanks everyone who joined in the chat because it's always fun. That's why we're doing the show is to hang out and have fun. So for everyone in the site and everyone in the chat, have a good night. Make sure to check out epicallygeeky.com, where you can find all of the shows that we do, including the Epically Geeky Show, Marginally Geeky Book Club, Creatively Geeky, Sustainably Geeky, EG Live, and EG Gaming. But before you do, make sure to like and subscribe here on YouTube. And if you're a person with a human-style body, why not head over to our TeePublic store and grab a t-shirt, hat, shorts, or whatever else they sell to cover that body. You can find the link in the show notes. And thanks for supporting us here at Epically Geeky. See you next time.